Greetings. How are you? How's it going? How's everybody doing out there? What is the latest and greatest? Hope everybody's well. Doing fantastic. In excellent spirits. You already know the deal. It's a Thursday. It's a podcast pregame. Joining in an hour and 13 minutes will be the podcast itself. I shouldn't say joining, but as I'm still trying to awaken from the slumber. But I got a lot to talk about, a lot to dive into, unpack, etc. The NBA Conference Finals off to a tremendous start. If you missed the live stream yesterday, obviously a lot of it was about the Knicks, but I did talk a little OKC, San Antonio, and the Thunder got back on the beam there last night, where the game was tight. The Thunder had a 2-point lead there with about, I think it was 6-7 minutes to go, and then they went on an 11-0 run, and that pretty much put the game away. And for the Thunder, obviously it was a game that they had to have. They didn't want to go down 0-2 and then to San Antonio for a chance to really fight for their lives. Now, with the series and the home court shifting to San Antonio, I would think that the Spurs would, I should say, I think the Thunder would get one of the next two. This is going to be a long series. I think I picked OKC in 6. But I would not be shocked if it goes 7. Not in the least. These next two games are going to be hellacious. And it'll be interesting because if San Antonio does win game 3 tomorrow night, obviously all the onus and the pressure will be back on the Thunder to win that game 4, which we've seen them do that in the past. Whether it was Denver last year in a game 4, whether it was Indiana when they were down 2-1 in that series. The Denver series, I don't think they were down 2-1. They were down 1-0. May have been down 2-1 because that scene shifted to Denver. Yeah, I believe they were down 2-1 and came back from that. And yeah, it's one of those situations where even if you're the Thunder, if you happen to lose tomorrow, I would think you'd have enough confidence to go ahead and try to get to a game 4 knowing that you've been down this road before, you know what it takes to win, and that's it. But I got that to talk about. Game 2 with the Knicks tonight. We'll get into that. Debacle there on Tuesday night. Hockey, how about Vegas? Big win for them. Actually played bigger than I actually thought, considering that Colorado at home, they've been dominant. They've won all their home games, and last night they go behind the 8 ball, so you have to wonder I think Colorado will be fine, but that adds a little spice to that series. And Vegas, they know how to win. I get it. John Tortorella is a guy that's going to grate you until you had enough, and it's Grate, of course. And you got to give it up to what they've done here so far in this postseason. Beating Utah, and I know Utah gave them a little run for their money. Anaheim, I know 6 games, both of those series, but still. And now you have a situation where Alina, welcome. How are you? Where are you from? So when you have a situation where the Golden Knights, who now have taking the home ice advantage away from the Avalanche, it adds a little wrinkle to the series, so you don't have to worry about, they're up 1-0. It's going to be another typical ho-hum Colorado type series. And then tonight, you finally will get to see the Carolina Hurricanes. You talk about going up to them and getting the dust off them. That is a team that has been off for almost 2 weeks, which is unprecedented. We have not seen that in the history of the playoffs, whether it's NBA, NHL, baseball for that matter, for a team to have 12 days. Their last game was 2 Saturdays ago, the day before Mother's Day was the last time they played. And now here they are tonight where Montreal comes in, and I'll preview that, talk about that on the podcast coming at you at 11 o'clock. Baseball, Dodgers beat the Padres, no surprise there. Yeah, the Brewers just waxed the Cubs as they take over the NL Central. Greetings. They take over the NL Central. And I just mentioned about the Dodgers and the Padres as Ohtani What else could be said? His ERA is what, '07, leadoff home run last night, and all is well in the NL West for right now. Then you have the rematch last year of Dodgers and Brewers in Milwaukee this weekend, so that's going to be interesting. I'll take a look at the landscape there as far as baseball goes. Yeah, he is. Yeah, I mean, if he's not geared up to win a Cy Young this year, and obviously that's going to add to his legend to get a Cy Young. So I'm sure. And what is he, 4-2, I think now? 0.79 ERA. His whip is, I think, 0.8. Although his power numbers are down. But that's the thing. Could you imagine Ohtani winning an MVP, and maybe that could be a theme? Now, the Dodgers, they're going to win a division. But watch Ohtani, and I'm sure he'll heat up at some point. But watch Ohtani for him have very, I'm not going to say average, but, they're above average, but not otherworldly numbers, where he'll go ahead and, let's say he hits 35 to 40, drives in 95 to 105, he bats 270, but he's 12-6 with a 1.7 ERA, and he'll win the MVP because of his pitching more so than his hitting. Unless he has a tear in the second half where you can't help. But my thing is that will his pitching carry him not only to a Cy Young, but maybe even to an MVP? And if that's the case, then forget about it. Willie Fernando has a low ERA through 8 starts. Yes. Well, I remember that too, 1981. Of course, the dearly departed Fernando Valenzuela. And yeah, it's just unbelievable what he's done here. And the Dodgers, business as usual. I get it that the record isn't gaudy. I get it that, they've had their injuries, rotation. Mookie Betts has been out. Edwin Diaz. But that team, it's weird. The Rays are the opposite of the Dodgers from a standpoint of the Rays and what they do. They're more built, and I've said this a million times, they're more built for the regular season. When they get to October, they just get overwhelmed. And then the Dodgers the other way around. It's almost as if, all right, we can win 95 games, be the third team, a wild card, and they'll still go to a World Series because they have so much talent that at the end of the day, and I get it, you need some luck. I get it. You need the bounce of a ball, like that ball that gets lodged into the fence in Game 6 in Toronto, where who knows if that didn't happen, that may have changed the whole outlook of the World Series. And the Isaiah Conifer left a slide if he left a second earlier. Listen, but that's what happens. In order to win a championship, you need moments like that. And, last year the Dodgers had those games, whether it was against the Phillies, where they did just enough to beat them. Not to beat them in 4, but still, winning teams, they find ways. And why would that be different this year? Unless they don't get the bounce of the ball or the break or what have you. Hey, Juan, it's been a minute. What's going on? The novice, greetings. What is happening? We're talking a little Ohtani. We're talking about how you wonder if his pitching could carry him to an MVP. Obviously, I'm sure he's gunning for that Cy Young. Now, mind you, we're not even at Memorial Day yet, although we are a few days away, but still got plenty of time. Oh, good to hear, Juan. Glad all is well out in BK. I know we got a little relief now. We go outside. It's cloudy, but it's cool. It's been in the 90s all week. Yeah, no, Ohtani's been. And the thing is that his power numbers this year are down. What does he have? He hit his 9th home run last night? Or was it his 8th? Yeah, I'm good, Juan. All is good. Just trying to continue to do what I do on my end. Put out content. I know I got to still go above and beyond, but that's all right. But all is good, man. I cannot complain. If I'm going to complain, then please. I really got issues if that's the case. Yeah, 90s hot. I know, yeah, and it's I think Saturday the high's supposed to be like 50 something. So you're gonna go from like 95 to 55 in a matter of 3 days. Ah, that's crazy. All right, let me make sure I got my messages here right. All messages. There we go. I always forget to change that. But yeah, and the Dodgers are playing the Brewers this weekend when the Brewers just destroyed the Cubs. And listen, it's minor payback, but the Brewers, let's see how they fare against the Dodgers out in Milwaukee. I guess I'll have to talk about Aaron Rodgers for a hot minute. Now that it's official. Well, we knew he signed last week, but making it official that this is his last year, going to retire at the end of the year. And I know people have asked me, what do I think, and so on and so forth. Who's going to World Series? Well, I predicted, and there's a bad one too. I predicted Seattle and Philadelphia. How do you about Rodgers' retirement tour? Yeah, I'll talk about that in a second, Denovis. Seattle, Philadelphia. Now, I'm not going to go out and say, it's going to be Braves and Rays because they have the best record in each National American League. I don't know. If I had to pick a World Series right now, I know it's tough. Yeah, I wouldn't go Braves, Rays. I mean, come on. Yeah, I understand that they're the best teams in each league, but you still have, obviously the Dodgers. I would say Dodgers, Rays. Imagine that. That'd be the pandemic World Series all over again. Yeah, I wouldn't say Dodgers, Yankees. Listen, all right, I'm going to stick with my pick. Now, Phillies played better, although they lost 2 out of 3 to the Reds, but they're at 500. Seattle, I mean, they've been a mess this year, but they got off to a slow start last year, and we saw them come on strong late. So I would expect them to turn it around. I'm going to stick with Seattle, Philadelphia, although it's a long shot. So, how do you feel about Rodgers' retirement tour? Yes, Fuqua. As a matter of fact, I was just about to answer that, but I'll get to your question too. Of course, aka Minnesota Fats, Tatsuya Mai, Rhoda Penmark, Everyday Mets, Dad's Chips, Kai Boy Bull. How's that leg, Fuqua? I always got to ask. But the Rodgers retirement tour, I don't know. Would they do that? I mean, it's weird. The only baseball does that, and the NBA we've seen. Football, we haven't really seen that. Like when Peyton Manning, I'm trying to think. He didn't announce his. Did they do like ceremonies in different stadiums for him? And with Rodgers, would they do that? Well, like when they go to Cincinnati, are they going to do something for him? Yeah, I'm just thinking. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, but this is it for him, and rightfully so. I mean, I don't know how he's going to perform this year. To me, it's all based on the offensive line. And remember, Mike McCarthy's there, and he reunites with him, so there's a comfortability there. Rodgers very unpopular during the COVID season. Yeah, I know he said he was immunized, and meanwhile, that was a crock. It won't be official, but that's what it really is, yeah. Please, could you imagine? Oh, unless you know what I can see him doing. He probably, once the season is over, and then once you get past the Super Bowl and maybe even free agency and all that, or maybe around free agency, I bet you he'll sign a one-day contract with the Packers and retire as a Packer. I mean, that's probably what's going to happen. And then he'll have his jersey retired. Obviously, 6 years out, he'll be in the Hall of Fame. But listen, he can still throw it. But he needs to be protected because he doesn't have that escapability like he once did. He's 42 years old. I mean, geez. So, but no, listen, you can't knock the career. I get it to one Super Bowl. when you look at a guy like that, and to think, I was looking at his numbers. He's at what? He's at 66,000, like 300 some odd. So he's about 3,600 yards from 70,000. Now, we all know Tom Brady has the most passing yards in NFL history, but I'm sure that's a number he's probably trying to achieve, knowing that, 70,000. I mean, that's huge. Yeah, you're right, Donavis. They do play him. So, yeah, you have Mike McCarthy going up against them. And listen, I don't know how much, maybe he'll get ratings. I'm sure he'll probably be on regular network TV. I know preseason, as you guys know, I don't really watch. I just can't. But that goes for all the sports. I know my brother, Justin, shout out to him. He watches NBA Summer League. Listen, I can't watch that stuff. So, yeah, so I'll talk Rodgers. I'll also talk Jason Kidd. I know I mentioned that yesterday on the live stream. And yeah, other than that, that's it. For those who are interested in Indy 500, I know every year on the podcast, I always talk about, which I will do so. Maybe I'll make a brief mention of it, but I'll say it now. Past podcasts, I always talk about the Indy 500. When I was a boy, that was a huge event where Sports Illustrated that Wednesday, Thursday when it came out after the Indy 500, you'd always see the winner on the cover. It was almost the official beginning of summer when you saw the Indy 500. And yeah, I mean, I don't even know who's into it or what have you, but yeah, I couldn't even tell you who's racing. The only one guy I remember is Helio Castroneves. Yeah, I don't know if any of the Formula One guys are racing in that. I couldn't tell you. Yeah, I'm not a NASCAR, F1. I know F1's been huge over the last few years. Who knows? I guess maybe should I get into it, considering I do have a sports podcast. But yeah, I've never got into, even back then, auto racing. Yeah, there'd be times where I'd be outside playing stickball or wiffle ball or some sort of baseball out in my old neighborhood, and I would come up to get some water or what have you, and I would turn it on, the black and white, and see what's happening. But that was it. I'm not sitting there for 2-3 hours watching whether it's Indy 500 or any of the other races, 24 hours of Le Mans, Daytona 500. I mean, none of that. I used to watch the Indy. Bobby Rahal. Oh, look at that. Yes, Bobby Rahal. Mario Andretti, Jackie Stewart, Al Unser, Senior. Who else? Richard Petty. Think of the names of back then. Yeah, I remember the AFX racetrack. I used to have one of those. Ray, what is happening? And for those, I got to give Ray a shout out here. Ray is trying to get to 50 subscribers on this channel. If you want to bless him by hitting the subscribe, definitely do that. Ray's been a big supporter here over the last couple of weeks or so, and obviously he's trying to do his thing. And if anybody wants to go ahead and hit the subscribe button on his channel, I'd appreciate that. I'm sure he would too. Now that Rodgers is done after the season, do they consider trading Watt? If I'm the Steelers, I would. Now, the thing is, he just signed that extension last year. Does that kick in now? What's that sucker kicking now? Let's see. Yeah, I know. And I killed J.J. Watt last year. Not J.J. Watt. T.J. Watt. T.J. Watt contract. Which he signed July 2025. Spot track. Does that start now or does that start? Yeah, that pays him through 28. So that starts this year. Well, he's got 2 more years after this one. So that starts this year. Yeah, 32 million salary, 10 million, 42. There it is. And 94 million dead cap. Well, if they get to 28, listen, and that's the thing. If they trade him, that's the one thing I don't. I gotta get myself familiar with the cap. And I guess you gotta be a capologist. But let's say after this year, if they traded him, his dead cap money is 52 million next year, which is nuts. Because you figure if you trade him, you get rid of the contract. That's it. But obviously, there are a lot of different ins and outs with the salary cap. All right. But you know what? If I listen, but now here's the thing: if he has a bad year next year, who's going to want him? And he's 31 years of age, so he's going to have for him a double-digit sack and stay healthy, of course. Now, if he has a monster, 16, 17 sack year, they're not going to trade him. But if he has, 11 sacks, 11 and a half, do they even think to try to get rid of him? Oh, you're welcome, Ray. Mets played like trash last night. Juan Soto hits the most worthless home runs. Yeah, I know Zach Thornton. He gave up the home run to C.J. Abrams in the first inning, and then after that, he settled down. But yeah, to me, the loss 2 nights ago was the one that really bothers me because they had a 5-0 lead. Then James Woods hits that inside the park grand slam. I mean, listen, it was no fault to who was in left field? Wasn't it Carson Bench? Oh no, that I think was the other kid, Nick Morabito. But yeah, Tyrone Taylor, I don't know what he was thinking on that play. Did he not see the ball, or I don't know? It was just weird. And yeah, they fell apart. But yeah, now the Mets, they if they run the table here from now until Monday, all right, you could still end up be 5-2, but they have to win today. They cannot leave Washington losing 3 out of 4. They beat them 2 out of 3 at Citi Field, and now what? They're going to win another series against the Mets. Listen, I get it. You're on the road. You split the 4, fine. Hopefully, you go to Miami, win 2 out of 3. Listen, you like 5-2, but you take 4 and 3. You want to take a winning road trip. But yeah, that today for me is a must win. Yeah, Morabito. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because Bench isn't right. But yeah. The only thing I'm going to say is, despite it being the Nationals and the Marlins, those are teams, more so the Marlins than the Nats. There have always been thorns in the Mets side. So yeah, let's just hope they win today. You have to consider trading post June 1st, but right before the season. Yeah, that's going to be similar to AJ Brown in that regard. I don't know if the Steelers would do that though. Yeah, they still have Alex Highsmith and Nick Herbig, and yeah, I don't know if they would trade him. You know what? I hate to say it. There's a part of me that I would, only because, listen, I hate to say it. I mean, he's 31 years of age, and he's been relatively healthy throughout his career, but he wanted that money. He wanted to get paid. And last year, oof, what do you have? 6.5 sacks? That was not bang for the buck there. And I understand his extension starts now, but still. The Yankees Blue Jays games was good last night. Yeah, what was it? 2-1? I know the game was delayed. It didn't start till like after 9. And then that game was on Prime. Good pitching matchup, though. You had Trey Savage and Cam Schlittler. And tough loss for Schlittler. He gave up the 1 run. 8 hits, though. 2 walks, but your Savage, 2 hits. What do you have, 8 strikeouts? Or maybe he had 6. As they'll play the rubber game today. And Garrett Cole tomorrow, which I'll talk about a little bit more on the podcast today. Let's see. Yeah, what about Nolan Smith there, the novice? Come on, what's he doing driving 135 miles an hour? Yeah, I don't want to say Henry Ruggs. I mean, that was. Oof. I mean, how Henry Ruggs was driving 100 and what, 40 miles an hour on a strip. Not even wasn't even on a highway. And then you had a situation with Rashee Rice. Ugh, 950. Yeah, it started late because of the thunderstorms. Yeah, and then that's the other thing too with the Spurs. Wait, let me see this. What is this? Best worst offseason moves. Yeah, I'm on ESPN.com. Let me see this. Joel Dean. On the veteran side, Steelers gave Aaron Rodgers halfway through May. Yeah, we know that. It's possible the Steelers unlock something in Aller, but I worry they're going to be. Yeah, I'm not. I don't love Drew Aller. I don't. Hey, look who's there, Mark. Any inside the park home runs? I don't know. I don't know how many home runs he hit in his career. I mean, he probably hit. I don't know. If he hit 100, that may be too much. Who's winning Knicks Cavs game tonight? I bet you the Knicks. They're going to run roughshod. Yeah, that Cav loss. That's all on the coach. But oh man, that was. See, a loss like that sticks to you forever, man. I mean, look at the Knicks. They lost game one last year. I would say similar fashion because they had what? They were up 111-94 with about 5 minutes to go, and they had a 9-point lead with 50 seconds in the game, and they lost. Thanks to Halliburton's shot, but that pushed the game into overtime. But for the Cavs to have a 22-point lead with 7:40 to go and lose that game and get outscored 44-11 the remainder of the fourth quarter in overtime, that's a disgrace. There have been some really ugly losses by NBA teams. Oh, yeah, they have been. Obviously, Orlando lost their coach because of that. Yeah, that game. A lot of blowouts, too. Ton of blowouts. That Nick Hawk and Game 6 and the Mother's Day Massacre, those two games, that's a Georgia player problem. I know. Your boy Jalen Carter, that's another one. That's funny, Danavis. Yeah, I know. What's with these guys speeding? And Jalen Carter, I understand that didn't happen on the Eagles watch, but see, Mark, now you're gonna have me look up not if he had any inside the park home runs. How many career home runs Hal Morris have? I'm gonna guess Hal Morris. Now I'm gonna give a range. I'd say between 80 and 120. Stats. Was a Yankee farmhand. Born 1965. 76. I said 80. Yeah, I figured I had to give a range. Most home runs he hit one year was 16. You know what's so funny? I should just make this like the Hal Morris podcast or whatever. Imagine that. Meanwhile, Hal Morris has nothing to do with this podcast, but thanks to Mark Sammons. I appreciate you, Mark. I do. Thoughts on Home Run Derby, Netflix instead of regular TV? Thing is, everybody has Netflix, but if they're going to, here's what I'll say about that. That's a good one, Donavis. They're going to make it such a spectacle Think about opening night, Yankees Giants. Why in the hell was Jameis Winston there? What? So we're going to bring Jameis Winston back? And I don't care if he played baseball at Florida State. I do not care. He did not suit up as a position player or pitcher in Major League Baseball at all. I mean, that's like having Russell Wilson be a part of the festivities. And Russell Wilson, was he drafted by the Yankees? Let me look that up. Who was Russell Wilson? Oh, the Rockies. Yeah, as a matter of fact, that's right. He was invited to Yankee camp and he participated. 4th round, Colorado Rockies. And even then, I don't want to see any of that. And I don't want to see just actors and I get it, it's entertainment and whatever. Just it's about the home run derby. It's not everything around the derby. So if they're gonna have musicians or bands or whatever prior to, and have fireworks and gimmicks and all that, no. But I bet you Netflix is gonna do that. So, but let's see when we get to that point. We'll review it. But I guess I don't have a problem with it. But if they're gonna make it more than what it is, and it's a home run derby, not a regular season game, then I don't know. Yeah, he did. You're right, Bob. He did have a quick bat. Ray, I'm gonna make a couple videos today. Good for you, Ray. That's it. Yeah, I don't want to shout out this guy. I don't know how much you guys are on social media. Maybe the novice, you may know. I guess I got to shout him out now. There's a guy. He's a young kid. I think he's based out of Philly. I know he does all Philly content. Eagles, Flyers. No, he doesn't do Flyers. Eagles, Sixers. I haven't seen him do Phillies though. Because again, a lot of these kids are going to do NBA, NFL. They're not going to do baseball. They're not going to do any of this other stuff. That's like the Royal honoring John Elect and Dan Marino. Oh, do you mean John Elway and Dan Marino? Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, this is one kid who is just putting out content that is just, it's, come on. He was talking about the other day, he posted, he said, oh, the only person to blame for the game one loss the other night was James Harden. And I wrote back, I said, which game are you watching? Yes, Harden was getting roasted, but that's more on the coach. Call timeout, get Harden out of the game. I understand you can't get him out of the game because you want his offense and his passing, but you got to stop the bleeding. Yeah, well, I know they. Wait a minute. Well, I know the Yankees drafted Elway. Did the Royals draft Dan Marino? They drafted both of them in the '79 draft. I gotta look that up. I never knew that Dan Marino got drafted in baseball. Obviously, with the big arm, I'm sure could have been a pitcher. Ray, that kid, Yummy Cruz, the kid spent 8 years in the minors and finally made his major league debut. I don't know if I'm saying his first name correctly. Yummy Cruz. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, he's on. Hold on a second. Yeah, that is. Yeah, Giovanni Cruz. Yummy. Yeah, he pitched last night, did he? Hold on a second. Where's that line score? All right, let's try this again. Standing. What time I got? All right. Standings. Schedule. So, Yummy Cruz. What is Giovanni Cruz, right? He got 2 innings, 3 strikeouts. Wow. Yeah, nobody had any. It's number 96. Yeah, nobody had any film on him, so obviously he pitched well. 2 clean innings. Val, Miss Priya, welcome. Good to see you. And Miss Priya, now that I think about it, how's the buzz in Carolina for the Hurricanes? Because I know you're near Raleigh, you said, right? So I'm curious, what is, I'm sure the mood is, I mean, over the moon, but considering the long layoff, what's being said there? This Aaron Rodgers thing sounds like a disaster in the making? It could be. Definitely could be. Royals drafted Elway, Marino in the 79 draft, only team in history to draft a Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Wow. I didn't know that about Marino. Oh, you're in Charlotte. Why did I think Raleigh? But it's like they must win or they should fire everyone. Ooh, really? No, not that much. How far is Raleigh from Charlotte? I've been to that airport in Raleigh, but and Charlotte too. It's like they must want to fire everyone. Wow, is it really that extreme? Val, I know the Giants are terrible. 2.5 hours? Wow, it's that far. I didn't realize that. Miss Bree, into the NBA? What's going on there? But all right, that's interesting to know that Charlotte, not that much, but Raleigh. So it's almost as if the Carolina Hurricanes are more like Raleigh's team. Like nobody in Charlotte really cares about the Hurricanes. All right, let me scroll up here. Yeah, I didn't know that Donavis with Elway Marino. Yeah, I know Elway. I remember seeing him in the Yankees. I guess maybe then the Yankees drafted him afterwards because I remember seeing him in a Yankee uniform, and then it was talks about him. And all right, I'll check that out afterwards. I know you sent me something because obviously if I check it now, I'll lose this live. Yeah, I keep wondering how the Cavs slide. Oh, geez, that was an abomination. I hear you, Ray. Nothing but love, brother. No, it's all good. Yeah, Steve Cohen. You can thank him for that. Yeah, the Cat. I still can't get over that loss. I'm not a Cat fan, far from it. But that is just. Do you think Giants are struggling? Oh yeah, Giants are just. I tell you, is MSG a good home court advantage or lost its luster? Well, it's weird because the Knicks have lost a lot of even big games in their building over the years. This is going back to the '90s. They lost that game 5, the Charles Smith game. They lost in 5 to Toronto in '01. But not recent memory. Look, they lost to the Pacers in game 7. I understand everybody was hurt. They lost to the Pistons twice in their building last year. They lost to the Pacers twice, games 1 and 2 last year. They lost game 2 to the Hawks this year. So, yeah. Yeah, but it's still a good home court advantage. I understand celebrities and whatever. But that building, the Knicks would be terrible and they still show up. But it's weird. You would think it's a good home court advantage from a standpoint that they'd win a lot, but they've lost a lot of games over the years in that building. And listen, I understand you can't be perfect, but I mean, look at the not to bring up the Celtics, but I guess I am bringing them up. You know, you think the Celtics with all their success, especially in the Tatum Brown era, they've lost a ton of home games. I mean, think about it. They lost 3 games at home to the Sixers in the opening round. 2-5-7. So, and it's weird because home court, I think, isn't the same like it once was. A lot of teams win on the road. Who's better, Mets, Giants? I have to say the Mets, but not by much, Val. Cavs are cursed. Well, they got that title 10 years ago, which helps. But yeah, I mean, that was on the Cavs record 8-7 in the playoffs this season. They are 8-7. Yep, they're 8-7. And I don't think they win tonight. I think they get that crowd. They're going to be bloodthirsty. Oh, forget it. Thanks again for helping me. I'm going to leave my link in the chat in a little while. Yeah, no doubt, Ray. It's all good. Thank you, Ray. I appreciate that. You know that. I appreciate you too. Fuqua, are the Meadowlands cursed? Xanadu Mall took 2 decades to open. The Giants suck. Wait, is that called the Xanadu Mall now? Wasn't it an American Dream? Is the racetrack still open? I don't even know. I guess it is, right? Don't remind me about 94 because, I mean, that was like yesterday. Yeah, I remember that run well. WWE Danhausen cursed the Cavs on SportsCenter. They lost. I know. You've seen a lot of him come up. Yankees, I think he had to curse them when they were doing well. Yeah, the Meadowlands cursed. And I got news here. It's too late now, but why? I get it that Woody Johnson wanted to have that stadium on the west side of Manhattan, which would have been a disaster. I mean, forget it. But he couldn't build a stadium right next to Citi Field, where they're building the soccer stadium for the NYCFC. You see, this is the problem. As I think about it, I get aggravated too. This is the problem with a lot of these owners in sports. Here's a guy who's completely out of touch. I don't care what kind of businessman. I don't care whatever. Johnson & Johnson. You can break it all down. He should have the wherewithal. All right, you want to try the West Side, but if not, put that team back in Queens. Obviously, there's no New York team football-wise. They both play in Jersey. If you would have built the stadium out, and I understand in this day and age, you're not going to have the dual stadiums anymore. You're not going to have Shea Stadium when they had Jets Mets. You're not going to have, even in Miami, when the Marlins were there, Marlins Dolphins, Raiders, and the A's at the time. I get it. They're going to have their own stadiums. But when the West Side they weren't having it, he should have built the stadium, take out all those chop shops, and built it right there. And that's it. New York would have a team. And to me, the Buffalo's Bills don't count. You can say, oh, that's New York's team. It is, but it isn't. You're thinking New York. You're not thinking Buffalo. You're thinking 5 boroughs. And, yeah, they blew it. Let's see. I heard Adam Schefter was saying Aaron Rodgers will retire. Yes, he will, Val. That is a fact. If Danhausen is outside tonight, they're done courtside. Ooh. It'll be interesting to see if he shows up. Do you think we'll actually see Aaron Rodgers joins up the season? Yeah, I don't. I'll only say yes because it is his final go around. But if they're struggling or whatever, I can already see him. Because Aaron Rodgers, his body language is awful when things aren't going well. So, and that schedule, I haven't really had a real good chance to peruse that schedule. The good thing is that the last 2 years, the Steelers played a lot of their division games in the second half. They're done with the Browns and Bengals in the first half of the year, but they got the Ravens late twice, including the final game of the year again. But this time, the game is in Baltimore, week 18. Yeah, last year, they started their first 7 games, like 6 of the final 9 games were in the division. And the year before that, was it 6 of the final 8, I think? Or maybe it was 6 of 9 again? But no, not this year, thank God. The ghost of Jimmy Hoffa's on in the Meadowlands. Yeah, I know. Where do they say that he was dumped in the end zone of the old Meadowlands Stadium? Just take a second to think about 94. The Yankees, the Knicks, Rangers could have all been in the playoffs. Yeah, and the thing is, Ray, yeah, that was the year of the strike. Yeah, I remember that summer well, 94. Or spring into summer. Yeah, I was 25 years old. Yeah, I started dating a girl back then. Yeah, I remember that. I'm over here like reminiscing in my brain here for a couple seconds. But yeah, that room was special. And that Ranger, I tell you, that was one of the great games I've ever seen. That Ranger Devil Game 7. Oh my God. And I couldn't say I hate the Rangers to this day. But man, was that some game. Brodeur, Richter, the saves. I mean, think about it. It was 1-0, that Ranger Devil game. 1-0. They scored a goal. What I think was it 1.9 seconds left? No, maybe it was about less than 10 seconds. The Devils, they tied it, they went into overtime, and then double overtime and Matteau goal. And Brodeur stood on his head in that game. That was May 27th. The anniversary's coming up. 1994 Rangers Devils. I just should have typed hockey reference. When did they score that goal? This is giving me nothing. What the hell? You see, I got to go to hockey reference. But yeah, that was a great spring and summer. And then, of course, you got to remember, too, Game 5, Knicks Rockets was the OJ. And we all know how much of a spectacle that was, playoffs. 94. All right, Rangers Devils. Game 7. When was the Matteau goal? I know it was double overtime, but. Oh, Claude Lemieux scored with 8 seconds ago. I said 8. I was thinking like 1.9 or something, but 8 seconds ago. Yeah, Valerie Zelapuka, and it was right in front of the net, too. They pulled the goalie. And then Matteau. Oh, man, that was some game. All right, what do we have? Valkyrie's Liberty. Yeah, I couldn't even tell you what's happening in WNBA. Although I could have sworn that the got to a good start. The Liberty. Yeah, 3-1. Valkyrie's 2-1. Where's that game? Is that game out there? Oh, 5 p.m. Oh, so it's here. It's in New York then. Because if you say 5 p.m. Val, then yes, definitely here. Oh, they also have a Commissioner's Cup? Yeah, I haven't been on top of the WNBA. The Toronto Tempo. Can't even say that right. Yeah, Nolan Smith. Yeah, we talked about that, Val. I just made myself a tall glass of Tang. Who remembers that drink? Oh, yeah. Wow, Val, you have that still? Oh, my God. I can't remember the last time I had Tang. Now, do you make it by the glass or do you make it by the container? No, you just made a tall glass, but oh my God, Tang. Yeah, I can't remember, but probably I was a 10, 11 maybe. Jeez. Mark Messier, the captain, put a lot of pressure on himself by guaranteeing victory. Yeah, game 6. They were down 2-0 and 2-1. He scored a hat trick in the third period. Josh Allen is 30. Well, happy birthday to Josh Allen. Yeah, that's crazy. Schedule. Yeah, Golden State at New York, which is in Brooklyn, Prime Video. LA Phoenix. And then Dallas at New York is on Peacock Sunday. Yeah, I haven't gotten to the W. All right. Playing the New York Valkyrie, yes. Porky the Booty Bandit. Good morning to you. What's up, Porky? Where you from? That's an interesting handle. Let me see. Hold on. All right. Let's see. Yeah, other than that, that's what I got, people. Podcast coming in 22 minutes. Yeah, I'm also working on another video. I don't know if I'm going to release it tomorrow or on Sunday. My New York Knicks, who was leading the Game 5 in the series, all went down from there. When I met my hero 2 years later, I was like, John, you broke my heart. Oh, do you really? Oh, I got to check that out, Ray. Yeah, that was Starks. Well, he had a good game 6. I think it was 5 for 9 from 3. He had a big game, although he had that shot blocked by Olajuwon at the end of game 6, and then game 7 was a nightmare. What was he, 2 for 18, 0 for 11 from 3? Yeah, let me look that up. Starks, let's go basketball reference. Starks, I know in that game 6. And if I'm not mistaken, that 3 actually could have won the game that he shot at. Seasons 93, 94. Here we go. That was 86, 84. Wow. And I understand that was 32 years ago. But I'm going to read off something to you, which is going to surprise people. Starks in the game, 9 for 18, 5 for 9 from 3, 27 points. Ewing had 17, 6 for 20, not good. Hakeem had 30. Nobody else did anything in that game. But here's the thing. The final score was 86-84. There wasn't one game in that NBA final that reached 100 points. And in fact, the most points scored in one game in that series was Houston. Game 3 when they won 93-89. That was Sam Cassell. He had a bunch of big threes in that game. Listen to these scores. 85-78, 91-83, 93-89, 91-82, 91-84, 86-84, 90-84. If the Knicks win tonight, would you call it? Oh, I think it's done now. Oh, but it's definitely done then, Fuqua. How does Cleveland recover from that? I think even if they win tonight, they're still going to lose the series. Cleveland. Beavertown, why don't you try to forget about that? I can't. I don't know what you mean by Beavertown, though, Ray, but maybe that's autocorrect. Yeah, Fuqua, I got news for you. I wouldn't be shocked. I'd be floored if Cleveland wins the series. And if the Knicks don't get to a final this year, when will they ever? Seriously. So, Joey Chestnut, Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah, nobody's beating him, man. That's crazy. I'm a Kobayashi guy. I mean, Kobayashi is the one that, let's face it, I know they've been doing the hot dog eating contest forever, but Kobayashi put that sucker on the map. And then Chestnut. Yeah, 4th of July. Before you know it, it'll be here. Yeah, PEDs. I don't know if you ever saw that 30 for 30 with Kobayashi and Chestnut, which I thought was really good. And I know they faced off. Didn't they face off last year on Netflix in their own personal hot dog eating contest or whatever? You know, the only way I would not think about it anymore. Well, listen, you and a bunch of other Knick fans, Ray. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the city would just. Ah, let's see. When it happens, it happens. But yeah, it'll be bananas. And the parade would just be forget it. The parade would be. Yeah. All right, guys. Let the man compete. Oh, no, he is. Even though, like I said, I'm more of a Kobayashi guy. But no, listen. The guy's won, what, 17 of those? I mean, come on. And nobody's come close. Well, maybe the only other guys I know is that Patrick Bertolotti. And then you had Booker Badlands Booker. You had the Asian woman Sonia Thomas. Don't they call her Black Widow? She's still in these eating contests. I don't even know. Trying to think. Yeah, then you had that. I can't think of the name. You had that couple, the older couple. I can't think of the names. But anyway, yeah, 4th of July. I know before you know it, it'll be here. Obviously, you have Memorial Day forthcoming. What is anybody doing over the weekend? Now, the weekend's going to be miserable weather-wise here in New York. Mother Nature should have flip-flopped what's about to come than what has just happened. If they would have taken Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and put it Saturday, Sunday, Monday for this weekend, it would have been perfect. Yeah, it's also Fleet Week, right? Forgot about that. So you see all the sailors in town living it up. Remember one year Joy just had a sore throat. Oh, that wasn't that long ago, right? Wasn't that like in the last few years? Matt Stoney. Oh, 2015. Oh, that was long. I thought that was. Yeah, I never heard of this guy. Thanks for bringing that up, Fuqua. I never heard of this guy. Got 16.4 million subscribers on YouTube. Dang. Yeah, he eats all this stuff. I don't know. Has he posted anything recently? About 3 months ago. Yeah, it's crazy. Let's see this. Yeah. Gee, that's crazy. UFC DC Long event is coming up soon too. Yeah, that's on the 4th of July also, isn't it not? When it comes to sports, that's the only thing I have left because I've seen everything else. The Knicks, I hear you. I hear you, Ray. Yeah, who's supposed to headline that? Any idea, the novice? Oh, that'd be cool, Ray. Yeah, absolutely. I'd be down. Yeah, I know that event's gonna be crazy. Yeah, because that's is that our what you call it? That's his birthday, June 14th. And when is that? It's on a Sunday, I think, because my sister-in-law's birthday is the day before. Conor McGregor. Yeah, I don't know if I'd watch. I don't know. That's gonna be all pomp and circumstance. 10:48. All right, guys. Yeah, I'm gonna sign off. I'll see you guys in 12 minutes. As I get ready, I gotta set up my mic here too. I haven't done that just yet. But of course, I appreciate everybody jumping on board here on the podcast pregame. Of course, I'll get your comments at the 12 o'clock hour. Yeah, obviously, there's a lot to get into, but there's not a lot. Like I said, Spurs OKC. Obviously, the Knicks. Jason Kidd. Talk about that. Talked about him yesterday, but a little bit more. Vegas beating the Avalanche last night. Whatever's happening in baseball, Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, that's pretty much going to be the gist of it. So on Friday, going to Long Beach to see my sister. All right. Way to go, Val. That's good. So you're going to pass by or be not too far from Bio. Cool. Enjoy. Safe travels. All right, guys. So I'll see you in about 10 minutes or so. As always, appreciate you guys and gals. So I'll see you on the flip, 10 minutes. I know I was very anticlimactic how I close that. Usually it's like, oh, from the South Bronx, South Beach. But since I'll see you in a few minutes, you already know. So thank you, guys. See you in a few on the flip.